Welcome to Wellness Rebranded.
We know there is so much conflicting health and fitness advice out there.
And you're tired of the wellness fads, endless diets, and impossible standards that make you feel like nothing you do is ever enough.
You're ready to tune into your mind and body and feel empowered around health.
We're the healing trio here to help you redesign your relationships with food, fitness, and yourself.
I'm Elizabeth, registered dietitian and certified intuitive eating counselor.
I'm Maria, licensed mental health therapist.
And I'm Tara, personal trainer.
Together, we're changing the narrative on health away from diet culture, hustle culture, and toxic positivity and towards healthful self-care.
So grab your water bottle, get ready to laugh, learn, and grow.
And let's start rebranding your wellness journey.
Hi there. Before we start this episode, I want to remind everyone that we do have an Instagram account, Wellness Rebranded, and you can follow us there and connect with us. After recording our last episode, it was an interview with Krista Welch from Betty Center, and she talked about an exhibition that they have going around in Annapolis, where we are, about women with scars. And that conversation, after we interviewed Krista, Elizabeth, Tara, and I started talking about how much we loved the interview, but also the powerful message of that exhibition. And we started even talking about our own scars, how we all accumulate. That sounds, it's not like we're on purpose looking for them to have. The more scars we have, the better.
Collect them all.
Yeah, collect them all. But we started talking about how we own our own scars and how they have shaped one way or another our lives, the impact these experiences have had on us. So we thought about recording an episode where we can normalize scars and talk about what have we done to go through our lives with these scars and how in some cases they have even been helpful. So it's just a way for all of us to get to know each other better, and for you out there to know that you're not the only one with scars. We have them too, and here they are. Exhibition number 2.
Drum roll, please.
Yes. So, ladies, after I went to that exhibition, and I shared in the last episode that I had to tear up in the car for a while, it was a good tears. It was actually tears of connecting with me. And as a therapist and a woman of 40-something years old, well, I'm 49 now. Did you know I'm 49 years old now?
You just had a birthday.
Yes, I'm 49.
Happy birthday.
Proudly. I got to the car, and for me, it was almost like this permission slip that I didn't know I needed to wear my scars even more proudly and to connect with those scars and give me compassion and love. I never thought about giving myself before. So those tears in the car were tears of gratitude for somebody coming up with such a nice event. And 2, it was like, my dear me, you have your own scars, sweetheart, and it's okay. I hold you. I love you. And they have defined the woman that you are now. But I don't know. I feel like I needed that permission to see them and give love back to me.
Yeah, I feel that. I think I look at this a little bit differently because I have a personality where nothing really is deep of a scar for me.
Paper cuts are not deep, but
that's
you
not a
feel
scar.
them. That's right. It doesn't have
Well,
to.
are you talking about scars or wounds?
Both. It's all of it. Those things that we experience through life, it could be a scar, a wound, a dent, anything that brings an impact in your life, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
You don't have to have deep ones, but you have a lot of stuff that you have experienced that have shaped who you are now. That maybe you were going on this straight road and whatever you experienced made you go to the right or to the left. Life is filled with that. It's not a straight road. You get detoured many
Do you
times
think it's
because...
kind of the difference, Maria, between big T and little t trauma?
I mean, yes, but guess what? Little T's accumulated over time have the same weight as a big T, right?
I've never in my life heard that called big T and little t trauma.
Really?
Is that like a thing?
Yeah.
But the point is, whether it's big or small, your body feels that and it shapes who you are and your life. That's what we're talking about today. Our wounds, scars, dents. What are these things that we have gone through or experienced that make the woman that you are now, and how to start seeing that as part of your resume? It is part of my life resume, what I've gone through.
Well, and I assume that you're talking about the things that maybe we wish wouldn't have happened and that perhaps we often don't feel comfortable sharing.
Maybe. So I'll tell you this. After that interview, I thought, okay, so what are my wounds or scars? If I step a few steps back and I see myself almost like a X-ray. And I'll tell you, the biggest scar in my body right now is the death of my son, my baby, who passed away like 20 minutes after I gave birth to him. That's my number one scar. And it's a big one, visible to me, because if my heart had scars, that one is there. And it's going to be there until the day I die. But I've learned to live with that scar. And nowadays, I'm even able to talk about it because I talked about it a lot and I received a lot of support when that happened. But it's part of me, right? Like I'm always going to be this mom who was able to hold her newborn baby and see him pass away and then go home with no baby, but still your breasts filled with milk and Social Security office calling you to send you a Social Security card and to all the stuff that came after that. That completely shaped before and after Maria. But it also brought so much knowledge about how capable I am of going through shit and survive. Man, now I know I can survive shit. And that's also a good feeling, at least for me. He gave me this strength that I'm like, okay, I can go through this stuff, because it was not just his birth. It was all the pregnancy before that we knew that was coming, and it was months of all this. So it is a scar. And that's another good point. I don't think healing means that the scar disappears and you never see it again. Healing is I'm able to keep going and learn from that and use it in ways that are beneficial for me in some points. And it helps me have conversation with my kids. But even learning how to live with that pain and change that pain or make it your own over time is healing and resilience. So this episode today is about healing, resilience, wounds, vulnerability, being human, sharing it, and go through this human life with visible and non-visible scars and what to do with them.
Yeah, it's a powerful thought. I don't think any of us get through life without them.
No, you cannot. And that's why mental health is not about avoiding scars and wounds. It's about getting ready for when they come. You are in a state and in a position when maybe your healing can happen a little more efficiently. But they're going to be there, right? It's like when you get ready for surgery and you start eating better before it or something because it's going to help with the scarring later. Same with life. Taking care of yourself means that when that blows comes, life is going to bring stuff that is going to be hard to go through. You are in a little better position to catch it and move forward the best you can.
Yeah, you guys know I've shared with you both privately and personally that I had a pretty big personal wound in the last year. And I've consistently said that thank goodness for my wellness and health and self-care practices, because it's the only thing that got me through it. And I think what I learned from that experience was two things. You guys know I'm an intensely private person and I don't share things freely unless you're like really in my inner circle.
Which is valid, by the way.
And I shared a lot with the people in my inner circle last year. And what I learned through that was like the power of vulnerability. I received so much from being vulnerable in a way that I don't think I had ever really done that before. I guess I just internalize and move on however I can. But last year it was like I couldn't do that. I needed people. I learned that vulnerability is a superpower, and things you think people maybe won't relate to or won't understand or might judge you for, it was actually the opposite.
But you know, Elizabeth, I don't think I've ever told you this, but I think there's something that I admired very much that you did when you were going through this last year. And it was that you don't have to share what you're going through, but you were able to tell most people, listen, I'm going through a tough moment in my life right now, and I'm taking it slow, and I'm sorry if I'm not there, if I don't show up as I usually am, because this is what's happening and I need grace from everyone, because I'm giving myself grace as well. And you informed people.
Yeah, without actually saying.
Yes, and that's important, because you were creating this moment for you the best way possible, because it was out of our control what you were going through, but it is a little bit more in our control how we surround ourselves with and how we prepare to go through this storm. Is a way to say, I'm putting my sailboats, I'm putting it up, people, at my own rhythm. Watch me. You can't be on this boat with me, but please, when you see me from the shore that I'm going in circles or whatever, it's okay. Like that's important because I don't think even now I'm 49, it comes that easy for me to say, guys, I'm not well. I need some
It's
grace.
not easy, and it depends like how significant the thing was, right? Like I felt like I didn't have a choice because I was so not myself, so unable to show up normally. And I just needed people to know, like, I know that, and it's okay for you to know that too. Like, I'm not going to tell you the details, but just know, like, I am here and I'm not okay. And like, people gave so much grace around that, honestly.
But again, it is admirable because you know what? I've learned, and listen, this might be related to wounds. I grew up with the message that you have to push harder and that you have to show up and look like you're superwoman and you can deal with everything. In my case, sometimes when I go through really hard stuff, I still show up and I don't show it. And what you did is become in touch with that and being honest of what you were going through. And you were saying, showing that vulnerability. And that is strength too.
I learned that. I would not have thought that before last year. Honestly, I think I learned that I was vulnerable and the world didn't fall apart. And not only did it not, but actually it allowed me to get what I needed from people, which was just support.
Yeah.
There's nothing anybody could do but just to be like, are you okay? Or I see you, or hey, just checking in on you. Those things were really powerful and impactful for me. But I also learned you do your self-care practices so that they're there when you need them the most, right?
Yes.
It's really very difficult to build them in the middle of a crisis.
Correct.
That's like a down the road problem, right? I'm okay today. It's down the road. I'll worry about it. And I learned it in my own life. Thank God I had them in place because it is literally the only things that got me through last year. But I see so often it's easy to just take things for granted or think like you have time to worry about those things later or just frankly forget about them altogether until you need them. And then you're trying to claw your way out of a barrel. It's very difficult to like build new practices and habits at the same time.
Not only that
will support you.
Your brain might not even come up with them because your
totally.
brain is on emergency mode. But when you have practiced them for a long time, then your brain automatically goes like, hey, we have this in the toolbox. We've done it before.
Yeah.
Let's do it again, rather than what can I start practicing now in the middle of the crisis, right? Agree.
So I was thinking about when we talked about doing this episode, like what are some of my wounds? And I still believe that I don't have that many things that have been horrible for me. But I came up with 3 or 4 that I think have shaped how I've done my life.
Thinking about launching a podcast or taking yours to the next level? Juliana Barbati and her team are the experts you need. They take care of everything from episode funnel design to production and marketing, so you can focus on creating content that connects. Check out julianabarbati.com and mention that we sent you.
I mean, 3 or 4 is a good number, Tara.
Yeah, 1 per decade. 1 world rocking event per
And
decade.
again, there are paper cuts and there are bigger wounds. And maybe sometimes we just see them as part of life. And that's part of it too.
I also think I'm like look on the bright side kind of person. Usually I'm thinking, oh, I either am successful or I learned something. So like it's never really a full on disaster.
Okay, but let me ask you this. If you look back in your life, what's the hardest thing you've gone through? What's something that you said, damn, that left a dent? It can be a good dent. It could be something that changed you.
So I think the hardest thing I've actually gone through is losing my dad, which I wasn't even really thinking of for this conversation. But that like totally devastated me for years. And it's still hard, even though it's been 10 years now.
So would you think that going through the death of your dad took you to a level of pain that you didn't know before?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
And I don't know that it really changed my life a lot. Obviously it did because I don't have him here, but it didn't alter the trajectory because even though now I think, oh, like my dad would have done it like this, like I thought that before he even died.
But you knew
know?
pain, Tara. The pain that you felt in that moment was new for you. It was a deeper pain than what you felt before.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so that's a change. Now deep pain.
Okay. Fair. Maybe I am scarred, you guys.
No. You don't have to be. No.
Where's the tissues?
You don't have to be scarred.
Maria giving me therapy over here.
No, you don't have to be scarred, but your body and your mind and you learned an emotion, a natural emotion in a deeper way. And experiencing grief changes you. Even your brain changes, right? It doesn't mean that change has to be super noticeable, but it's an experience that
It's a scar.
I would have rather not experienced that.
Yeah.
I think differently about that.
Really?
Yeah, I'm thankful because of the amount of deep pain. I feel like it puts me in a different level, that I'm way more empathetic with people going through pain, and it taught me how to support people in pain that I wouldn't have known if I wouldn't have experienced it myself.
So I feel that way about one of my other things that I consider my scars, is that in order to get pregnant, I had to do like a whole bunch of fertility treatments, surgery, things like that, right? IVF, IUI. And at the time, like, I've known that was going to be my path since I was in high school. So it didn't seem that like traumatic for me. Oh, this is just what I have to do. When I want to have a baby, I do this. But watching my friends who had to do that same thing go through that experience without knowing ahead of time, and them sitting there wondering, what's wrong with my body? I never knew I didn't have perfect fertility or whatever. Going through that experience made me like way more empathetic to people on that path, because for me, I knew. So it was like a known destination that I was going to end up there. And thankfully it worked out really well for me. But watching the people who had no idea that was their journey go through that was really difficult. And it's one of the reasons why I'm so open about my fertility journey, is because I think that women get wrapped up in this like sense of shame about like their body didn't function the way they were supposed to. What's wrong with me? Am I not fit to be a mother because I can't even conceive properly? Like, there's a lot of self-doubt that goes along with fertility issues. And for me, I never saw it that way. So I'm extremely outspoken about it, because I want to show other women that other people go through this. I had like multiple 5 or 6 friends going through fertility treatments at the same time, and nobody was sharing it because everybody was ashamed. And as soon as I started saying, oh, I started going to Shady Grove today, everybody was like, what? Really? Me too.
Because sometimes these experiences can be isolating and you fear that people are not going to be able to support you, which happens, and then it hurts. So it's like a double hurt when you go through something and people say something silly, not intentional, but most people don't know how to support others in very difficult situations. So it's like you hit this hard wall trying to find support. As I'm hearing you talking about that, I'm thinking, okay, wait, maybe I'm the one who has all these wounds because these two co-hosts have better lives, guys. I don't know. But I'll tell you this. I'm listening to Tara. I'm like, okay, if I would put those post-it marks that you can put in a book to know where your page is, it's like those little strips.
Yeah.
Okay. So if my
Otherwise
life...
known as a bookmark.
I didn't want to say it.
Bookmarks are the... Shut up, Elizabeth.
Sarah and I are looking at each other, and I know we're thinking the same thing.
This is one more evidence, like in many other episodes, of what happens here, okay? I'm the victim of these two. Anyway, going back to my amazing idea, okay? So if I was a book, and forget about the positive moments because those will have a post-it bookmark too.
Bestseller.
But if it was the hard ones and you just jump to those pages in my life, I'll give you a tour. Okay. My parents divorced when I was 11. Then my dad leaving the house and my mom marrying this dumbass. Okay. Was
Okay.
okay. She married the worst dummy ever. That left a mark. Immigrating to this country at age 23 brought amazing things, but it also brought a dent, right? Leaving my country, Getting married the first time and getting a divorce and finding out that the guy had another relationship for a year before I found out and we were married. That was something.
Big dent.
That was interesting. Then I got married again. Then dad died between all these two. That was a huge dent. And then the loss of my baby, and now motherhood and some things that we deal with my kids that bring an impact to my life, all that stuff. So those are my bookmarks. You see, one is pink, one is yellow, one is blue. That's my book. And then you put another episode could be of those things that were amazing moments, because that's exactly what life is.
Yep.
You know, the ups and downs, the good and the not so good, the easy and the hard, the worth it and the not so worth it. That's like my wound tour. We should tell Kristen we could do like a wound tour. I'm going to write a book.
Okay. I thought you said you were going to write her a memo.
That too.
On a post-it note, perhaps.
Yes.
Hey, I know a good
Thank you
publisher.
for sharing those with us.
You're welcome. That's my wound tour. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some, but those things changed my life.
Yeah.
It's like, like you hit the brakes.
We all have them, right?
Yeah.
Similarly to both of you guys, my dad died unexpectedly when I was 30 years old and had an infant. Like, I didn't see that coming. It's like came out of nowhere. And it definitely left a wound and a scar. And I have many wounds and scars from 24 years of motherhood.
I feel like motherhood is so denting.
Yes.
I agree.
A lot of them are really small, but holy smokes, they add up.
Tara, we need another whole episode on this motherhood being denting, because the message is usually, oh, you're supposed to be enjoying this so much, and we don't talk about that part, and then it brings all this guilt. Yes, let's record an episode on that. Just how motherhood can be denting. Elizabeth, it's your turn. What were you going to say?
I waited so patiently.
Thank you.
No, I just was thinking about friendships. I had one friendship in particular, my best friend for 20 years growing up. And like, we don't have a relationship anymore. And there wasn't any like big.
Are we the same person?
Yeah.
It feels like we might
You
be.
had a story about that too.
Yeah, we did a whole episode on it.
What happened?
There was no big rupture. It just like slowly faded away in high school. And then by the time we got to college, we went in different directions and like never really reconnected. But when I think about it, like that is...
It hurts.
Well, it's like a hole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think about her
Yes.
occasionally and like I'm sad that friendship went away and like we had a lot of history and
Yeah.
it's a
Same.
hole the same thing as a wound. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like a puncture.
It's whole wounds,
I
scars,
wasn't like
dents.
thinking about that when we started the
I didn't
conversation.
think about
but-
that either, but I totally agree. It was like going through a breakup for me.
Oh, and I was just going to say also previous relationships, those are scars, right? I had a very serious relationship. I wasn't married, but for all of college, I had a very serious relationship. And
Absolutely. When I was 18, I dated this guy that, according to me back then, he was the cutest thing ever. Now I'm looking back and I'm like, he
Pictures.
wasn't. But I fell in love with him so badly. I don't know if I should say this. Is this TMI that it was my first time with him? Okay. I lost my...
It's getting spicy.
Yes, it was. But anyway, it didn't last. And guys, my mom came home once and found her 18-year-old daughter on the floor of her bedroom crying. I really thought my life was over
Yeah.
because this cutie handsome left me. And it was my first time and I was in love.
I actually had an extremely similar experience to that too. It was like my mom came home and I was sobbing on my bed and she was just like totally cool. She absolutely was like what a mom should have done in that moment. It's just like didn't try to solve it, just kind of sorry. And that was the end of the conversation. There was no lecture or anything.
Okay, I thought you were saying like she didn't pay any attention to you or anything. And I was like, that's actually a wound.
No, yeah, she did care, but she also didn't lecture me on how dumb I
Right.
was for falling in love with the wrong guy.
Yeah. So all those things is life, right?
I was like hesitating whether to say this. I have no idea why, but I do watch the Today Show, like the first 20 minutes of the Today Show most mornings. And recently, I'm sure you guys heard what happened to Savannah Guthrie's mom. And I watched the interview that she did. And she said something that I have literally been thinking about ever since, which she's going through still this horrible thing.
Horrible trauma.
And she wasn't saying like, why me or anything like that. She actually said, who were we to think that we could make it through life without being so deeply impacted by this broken world we live in? And I've been thinking about it ever since. I mean, really such a profound and difficult way to look at it, especially when you're in the middle of this
midst of
terrible trauma. But it did make me think like, yeah, I don't know why. I think it's easy to go through life thinking that nothing bad is supposed to happen to you. Or that like we're supposed to somehow come out unscathed. But that's actually, nobody promised us that.
No, but it's easier to go through life like that because if we're going to be thinking something is coming, it's not helpful
It is,
either.
yeah,
right? But
like you don't want to be on edge
Right.
and anxious the whole time, but also I think it's helpful to have the perspective of no, life is actually up and down.
And it gives you the perspective sometimes to really enjoy when life is going because you do
Yes.
know that can change, that things can happen. And then also you learn that you can go through it, that you will survive. Maybe not, in all pieces. Maybe you will barely make it, but we
There
will.
is strength and power from going through something hard and coming out on the other side, knowing I did that, can do that.
Yes.
And it is empowering. Like, obviously, you wish you didn't maybe have to go through that thing, but if you did and you made it, we're all somewhere on the other side of it. Like, it's a journey, but
Dude, I think about that all the time in terms of like hard physical things that I've accomplished. Like whenever I think, I can't do this, it's too hard. I like draw on my previous successes of, one time I swam out to the Mokalua Islands, which are like 1.25 miles offshore through like shark infested waters just for like, we didn't have anything to do on a Saturday
I'm so
afternoon.
glad you don't have a scar from that.
Wait, you did that
Same.
voluntarily? You threw into whatever waters to do what?
I was living in Hawaii and me and my friends were like bored one day. So the 6 of us just decided to swim to these islands and they looked really close when you're on the shore.
Don't they always?
And then you get 3/4 of the way out there and you're like, holy shit, this is like really hard. And the waves are big because now you're past the reef. So you're like swimming your little heart out and you get there and realize, oh my gosh, it's going to get dark soon. Like, we can't rest here on the beach for half a day and recover, whatever. Oh, and by the way, we didn't bring any food or water with us because the islands are just like right there. So we rested for like 10 minutes and then got back in the water and swam back to the mainland.
Okay, please don't do risky and impulsive behaviors like Tara many years ago, people.
Do we need some sort of life insurance policy
Yes,
on
like,
Tara
please.
as her podcast co-host if she's going to
Okay.
be doing crazy stuff like that?
Yes, do not do this
Listen,
at
it's
home.
been a minute since I've done that, but anytime I go through something hard now, I'm like, girl, you swam to the Mokalua Islands. You can handle this. Like, you can get your child strapped into the car seat. Like, you did that thing. This is not that hard.
You get your child strapped into the car seat.
With the helmet. Tara's boy now wants to wear a bicycle helmet in the car.
Not because of my bad
remember
driving.
That phase. That was a rough phase when she couldn't get him in the car seat.
Oh my gosh.
Now she
Legitimately, that was
We
harder
had
than
lots of
swimming to the
conversations
islands.
about that during my training sessions.
That was traumatic for me. That's
I
the
know.
scar. That was like 2 years of like, I'm not fit to be a mom. I can't even buckle my kid in.
Okay, well, I had 24 years of those, so buckle in, girlfriend.
There's so much more coming.
I can't,
Tara.
obviously.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, but also I wanted to share that I read this quote once a long time ago that I think is really relevant to this conversation. And I can't remember it exactly, but it was basically like, life shouldn't be a journey to the grave where we're like laying in our casket all like perfectly coiffed and with our manicured nails and, looking pristine like we didn't live at all. I want to come rolling into the graveyard with the car up on 2 wheels, full of cuts and bruises and hair askew and all that
I've
shit.
heard that too.
And like slide into the grave ready to knowing that I did the best I could and that I lived the best life that I could have. That's not exactly how it went, but
I like that.
that was the vibe. And I feel like that's what we're doing here today.
Is it the evidence that you lived?
Yes.
With
yes.
all of it, the good and the bad, you lived.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, the takeaway, I think, of this episode is women, we all have scars, wounds, dents, holes. Nowadays, I just wear them with me. I bring them with me everywhere I go, to my workshops, to my work, to my conversations, and they're part of me. So the invitation is that maybe take a look at them, connect with these holes, these wounds, accept them, embrace them, bring them back to you, and they're part of you. And it's something to say about that, to wear them and leave them proudly. That doesn't mean that we're happy they happened. It means that they happened and we were able to go through that the best way possible. And let's keep building or adding things to our toolbox, or when the next thing comes, we can do this together. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope it is an invitation to vulnerability, to know that you're not the only one carrying these wounds, that we can carry them together, that we can see each other now. And if we see these wounds, it's almost like a pat on the back and say, woman, I have some too, and they're beautiful, and you're capable, and you're strong, and let's just keep going, wounds and all. If you want to connect with us, outside of this episode, we have our Instagram, Wellness Rebranded. You can message us, and we love you. Keep going, wounds and all. Thank you for listening. If you want to connect with me outside of this podcast, you can find me on Instagram at coaching_therapist.
I'm Elizabeth. You can find me at Elizabeth Harris Nutrition or in my Facebook group, Health and Healing with Intuitive Eating.
And I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Tara De Leon Fitness. Guys, if you loved this episode or any of our other episodes, we would love it if you would leave us a review on Apple Podcast. It really, really helps us get the non-diet word out to the rest of the world. So please leave us a review.
Yes, thank you.